Hey everyone, welcome back to the show, the most interactive show. There we go. Welcome back to the most interactive wrestling show on the interweb. Welcome back to Wrestling with Omer. We have a show today, don't we? Vince McMahon, sexual trafficking allegations, the WWE Royal Rumble just 24 hours away. AEW potentially landing two of the biggest free agents of the year, and so much more to talk about. There's always a lot to talk about in the wonderfully wacky, wild world of professional wrestling. And I'm here to give it all to you, fill you in on all the details that I know so that you know. As always, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. This is a fan-powered show. So the best way for you to get a topic that you want talked about is by leaving a chat. Leave your questions in the chat. We'll get to them as the stream goes on. If you want to guarantee your question is read out and answered on the air, leave a super chat. But be sure to hit that like button. Keep those chats coming. Remember, we go as long as you guys want us to go here. So let's talk about Vince McMahon. So I'm not going to delve again. The details have been chronicled time after time, and I've done two videos really going over the entire Vince McMahon saga and the news of it all. Like I've talked about the Brock Lesnar piece in my recent video earlier today. I spoke about the Vince McMahon news that broke in the Wall Street Journal report, which if you have not read the Wall Street Journal report, it is one of the most damning, honestly, things I've read about professional wrestling in a while. This truly shines the light into the horror that, that Miss Grant, who is the victim in all of this, went through during her time in and around World Wrestling Entertainment. And whether or not you like WWE, like we can talk about the wrestling is the wrestling. I'm a fan of WWE's wrestling. I'm a fan of the product itself, but you don't have to be a fan of the people to be a fan of the product. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there who say that, WWE gave me a good experience when I was a child. They gave me something to look forward to when I was young. They gave me my childhood. And people want to look at that, and they want to look at Vince McMahon. They want to look at people who were also alleged in this and say, there's no way they could have done these bad things. People want to absolve them completely of any responsibility when a lot of the evidence points towards very damning things happening here. And I have a real problem with that. We had a very similar conversation recently about Hulk Hogan. People were talking about Hulk Hogan is my favorite wrestler. Therefore, he cannot be a racist. And how dare you call Hulk Hogan racist? How dare you? There's so many people who were going out there and saying that. Yet, if you listen to the words of the man himself, he's admittedly a racist. You go and watch the product that Vince McMahon put out in the Attitude Era. You combine that and look, the product is a product, right? If it was just that, it's whatever. It's wrestling, right? It's entertainment. You combine that with what we've heard about Vince McMahon, the fact that he does have an abusive tendency, that he bullies people behind the scenes, that people say he bullies people. Everyone's talked about it. Pritchard has talked about it. Jim Ross has talked about it. People close to Vince McMahon, people who are very much far away now from Vince McMahon have talked about it. You have a pattern of behavior that has been chronicled in report after report after report. The damn company had to launch an investigation, and he had to step down. $12 million in hush money payments. The Rita Chatterton allegations that happened in the late 80s. And there are still dumbasses online who want to go out there and say, Vince McMahon changed my life and I love him and there's no way he did these things. It's one thing to be ignorant of the moment. It's one thing to be ignorant in general. It's a whole nother thing to be ignorant in the face of so much smoke. You have people who, if there was a fire, if there was smoke coming out of a building, if you could smell it, if you could see it, if it was right there in front of you, and someone came up to you and said, "No, it can't be. This is impenetrable wall. Nothing would happen here." It's the same thing. It's like the whole Titanic thing. You remember? Nothing could sink this ship. Oh, wait, it's sinking? I wonder why. No way. I wish people would take. And again, I don't blame people for being emotional about professional wrestling. I have a wrestling YouTube channel. If there's, I cried when Bryan Danielson's Final Countdown played at the United Center, and I was there live. I cried. I get emotional about pro wrestling all the time. But just because you love something, just because you love a product, just because you love even a character, does not mean you condone the behavior of the person playing that character. Does not mean you condone the behavior of the actions, I should say, of that person. You can't. There's nothing you can say that can take away not only what Vince McMahon did, but the negative impact, the traumatic impact that he has had on the lives of this victim, likely on the life of Rita Chatterton, on the life of so many people. Forget even just like of course, the most serious of these allegations, right, are the sexual trafficking and the misconduct allegations. But we don't even have to look at that. This is someone who there is credible evidence that he helped Jimmy Snuka get out of a situation where he murdered his girlfriend. There is evidence to show that Vince McMahon and WWE helped cover up a murder for a professional wrestler. This is someone who's a bully. This is someone who obviously, given the testimony and given the filings that have come out and the reports that have come out, he's not someone who exactly is the best friend of women. Everything that we know about Vince McMahon leads us to this likely being what happened. It's a pattern of negative, abusive, and power-hungry behavior. That's all this is. If you can't see it, I feel sorry for you. Because the likelihood is you can't see it elsewhere either. And I talked about this with Kenny Baum last night. Can't change the world till you change ourselves, right? You got to. We have to. It starts with you. It starts with all of us. It starts with me. It starts on the individual level. Now, as far as Vince McMahon and what happens, he, of course, has denied these allegations. It's come out. TKO put out a statement earlier saying that they are taking this matter very seriously, that, you know, they're looking into it, all that kind of stuff. And they made sure to let everyone know, hey, just so y'all know, Vince isn't a part of, he doesn't got really any real power. If it was if there was any, question about whether or not Vince McMahon has power in World Wrestling Entertainment today, we found out because TKO literally said, he's got nothing to do. He's a mascot, guys. They let it out of the bag. He's a mascot. So they've said, like, hey, he's got nothing to do with us. This predates us. Look, it is not us, but it's still the company they bought. And a lot of the people who are in charge, I'm talking about you, Nick Khan. I'm talking about Triple H. I'm talking about all the executives that were there when the initial investigation in 2022 took place. They were all there. They all likely knew that these allegations were out there. They knew that something had happened There's no way that I can believe that people in World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, a multi-billion-dollar business, there's no chance in hell that they knew that nothing. There's no chance in hell they knew nothing. And if they didn't, that's a damning indictment on them, not only as a business, but just as an institution. The fact that you did your own internal investigation and this never came up? This never came up? Conductor, we have a problem. Stop the train. And again, I've said this before, I'll say it again, and I have been so adamant about this. The fact that Vince is still allowed backstage on Raw, the fact that he was allowed backstage whenever, I don't even care. I'm not even talking about him rewriting the show. Forget the show. The fact that he is around talent, the fact that he is around people who work at WWE. What the hell are we doing? This is someone who not only had multiple hush money payments, multiple NDA agreements, multiple accusations against him now coming out, these horrendous, horrible, absolutely terrifying allegations. And there's no ban? You're not banning him? You're not saying that, oh, well, Vince McMahon has nothing to do. He's no longer going to be allowed. None of that. By doing that, by allowing it, you are not only tolerating the behavior, but you're encouraging it in the future. You're setting the example, World Wrestling Entertainment, that is okay when it is fundamentally not. Scott Sexton in the chat, welcome. He says, I bet you won't see him within 5 miles of a ring for the next 5 years. He was at WrestleMania this past year. He was at multiple Raws. Nothing about this, I think, changes the fact that WWE will not ban him, there's not going to be any of that. He's going to be allowed to be around, and I have no hope. That's really what it comes down to. As an institute, I have no hope for WWE to do the right thing and at least stop him. Because whether or not he's a figurehead, whether or not Vince McMahon has any real power in WWE or TKO, whatever, the fact that he's been the guy there and he's basically CEO, chairman, emeritus by de facto for WWE, he's the founder of the company and he has that weight and he has that clout. The fact that he's there, what guardrails are in place to stop this kind of behavior in the future? Nothing. Or at least nothing that WWE wants to share with the public. And I think Lance Storm put this in the most eloquent and just best way. If it, like, Vince McMahon should be anywhere near a WWE show. Vince McMahon should be nowhere near the WWE headquarters. He should be nowhere near any of that. It's over. It's done. Rome has fallen. It's burning, Nero. It's over. The golden, all of it. Guys, he's not a good person. And anyone who knew, anyone who helped cover it up, anyone who was a part of the process also should have nothing to do with professional wrestling, nothing to do with WWE moving forward. I don't care whether it's Triple H, I don't care whether it's Stephanie McMahon, I don't care whether it's Nick Khan, all of these wonderful people who have done so many great things for professional wrestling, built WWE up into what it is today, Triple H putting on great shows, none of it matters. None of it matters, because if they knew, or if anyone else in that boardroom or any of the other executives or senior people in WWE knew, and they were allowed to keep their jobs and they covered it up, They have no business going out there in front of their staff and saying that we're a family. We're here to do what's best for you and what's best for the company. They have no business going to other staff, calling meetings to boost morale, and then say, oh, well, half of you are expendable. No room whatsoever. But I'm jaded. I'm cynical as all hell, guys, because I don't know. I don't think anything's gonna change. That doesn't mean I don't want it to. I want it to. I want it to change in every industry. There's so many industries where this kind of behavior is tolerated and encouraged. It's not just wrestling. You talk about athletics. You talk about basketball. You talk about the political world where these types of things are commonplace, unfortunately. And people are still sitting here trying to defend and not even defend the actions, right? But Vince McMahon gave me my childhood. You know who my favorite wrestler was growing up, guys? Chris Benoit. You know who I'm not rooting for and not cheering and not wearing t-shirts of right now and not defending their actions? Chris Benoit. Because what Chris Benoit did, reprehensible, horrendous, vile, shocking, all of the above. What Vince McMahon is accused of doing, shocking, vile, horrendous, all of the above. And it's one thing you want to look back and review a show and say and talk about the character, one separate thing. But glorifying the man is something that we cannot do and you cannot allow. Because it's been too damn long. The reason that we're fans, right? Like there's this weird adage that you know, like people have about wrestling. I think Undertaker kind of hinted towards it in a very different way, albeit on his podcast and Joe Rogan. But he talked about how, yeah, man, back in the day when boys were boys and, you know, like the locker room, like we were out there, we were going out till like 4 a.m. We were doing drugs. It was men were men. When the reality is men were boys. Men were freaking children. Didn't know any better. The idea of like the past generation looking back and or looking now to this generation and calling them children because they're taking care of their bodies, they're getting enough sleep, they're not injecting themselves with drugs that are harmful to them, they're not getting addicted, they're playing video games instead of going out. It's a weird world some people live in, genuinely. By the way, Kingslayer, I'm not ignoring your chat. We will get to this topic in a little bit. I just want to make sure I cover the Vince McMahon stuff at length here in the beginning. But guys, as always, put your questions in the chat. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I see 12 of you are watching. Welcome to all the new homies. And welcome back to all the Real Take homies. Be sure to hit that like button, guys. Last thing here on the McMahon stuff, and then I do want to mention the Brock Lesnar part of this as well. By the way, I covered both the Brock Lesnar stuff and the Vince McMahon stuff in two separate videos at length in the archive, so go check those out, youtube.com/Real Take Wrestling. It's on the channel. But as far as the Vince McMahon thing goes and where this goes from here, my hope would be, like, again, I said I'm cynical and I'm not confident things will come of it. My hope would be that WWE launches a real investigation, a true investigation, and TKO, launches a full investigation and takes Vince McMahon off the board. Because aside from Vince McMahon, you know, having this pattern of behavior, aside from all of the allegations that are against him, beyond just this, aside from the the just horrifying nature of what Miss Grant has outlined in the filing. This is someone, if you're TKO from a business standpoint, he's not doing your business any favors right now. Like, it is not a good thing to have an executive at such a high level, whether or not he has power, even a figurehead at such a high level. It is not a good thing to have him go through all of these reports and have all of this and have all this negative press. Like, I'll be honest with you, it ain't a good thing if you're TKO to have all this negative press, because you announced The Rock, right? Think about what WWE's been through this week. They announced this massive $5 billion TV deal with Netflix, and they are on cloud nine. The Rock is announced, and then it comes crashing down just a few days later with this Vince McMahon report. It hasn't affected the stock price too much as of yet. I think it was at 80. It was at 89. Now it's dropped a bit to 86. The low it fell to was 85. So we'll see. The markets, of course, have to account for this over the next few days. They open back up on Monday. We'll see how they react. But fundamentally, right, this is bad. It's a bad look for TKO. You're trying to establish a culture shift, right? Because on one hand, right, you got Vince McMahon, who's the figurehead of WWE, who has all these allegations. On the other hand, you have Dana White, who New Year's Eve 2023 literally caught on video hitting his wife. This is something that TKO genuinely needs to account for. This is something that TKO needs to just get right. It's not that hard. I don't care how good of a promoter Dana White is. I don't care how good of a wrestling mind Vince McMahon was or how good of a character he was. None of that matters. We're talking about people's lives. You can't trust someone like Vince McMahon, given the accusations, given the track record. You can't, in my opinion, you can't trust someone like that in a position of power over people. Because 9 out of 10 times, people like that abuse that power. We've seen it across multiple industries. And sometimes it's just not worth it for a company. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it not only to you from a business standpoint, from an ethical standpoint. And think about it like this. Big fan of AEW's in the chat saying, Slim Jim no more? Damn right. Slim Jim, one of the big sponsors for Royal Rumble tomorrow, pulled their advertising. They pulled their sponsorship from WWE because of these allegations, because of this report. And I said it before. If you're TKO looking at it from a business standpoint, cut it off. I'm talking about, say, Vince McMahon is no longer a part of TKO. He has nothing to do. Do not thank him. Because that's what people love to do. They love to be very neutral when they're writing press releases. They're like, oh, we want to thank this person. You know, it's just a mutual parting of ways. It's all BS. It's written by some damn consultant somewhere. None of it matters, guys. The thing that matters is that people don't get hurt. That people don't get taken advantage of. That's truly what matters. And if I sound emotional, if I sound pissed off or whatever, you wanna say that all right, angry wrestling fan, AEW mark goes off. I don't care. Because I know that I know wrong when I see it. I know wrong when I hear it. And where there's smoke, there's fire. There's just so much damn smoke here. We'll see what happens, obviously. Vince McMahon has denied these allegations. He has said that they're not true. But again, Slim Jim removing themselves as a sponsor, that's not a good look if you're WWE. for your TKO. It's not a good look at all. As far as the Brock Lesnar part of this, Brock Lesnar, of course, was also implicated in this, in these allegations, in this filing that came out from a former WWE employee. Brock Lesnar, he was not explicitly named, excuse me. I should backtrack on that a little bit. He was not explicitly named. It was implied, I should say. It was said that there was a former UFC star, WWE superstar, that they were trying to re-sign at some point in 2021, and Vince McMahon had tried to manipulate and offer certain services of a former WWE employee in exchange for trying to court Lesnar back in to re-sign. And it ain't great. It ain't great. Brock business. They reported. Looks like I disconnected there for a bit. My bad. But FightfulSelect.com reported that the plan was for Lesnar to be there. Excuse me. They didn't explicitly say that. They said that basically plans could change now. Like, anything could change. So go read the full report at FightfulSelect.com. But it's not good. I'm just saying, it's not good. Will Brock be there? I don't know. We'll find out in 24 hours. Literally, we'll find out in 24 hours whether or not Brock is going to be there. I would hope, given the seriousness of these allegations and this filing, that he's not. But I can't guarantee that. And again, we live in a world where powerful people, unfortunately, get away with scumbag stuff like this. Big fan of AEW says, I don't see WWE doing Rumble press conference. I think there is still one scheduled. I believe there still is one scheduled, but I don't think they're going to run away from it. I mean, the big question is, are people going to ask about it? I would hope so. I would hope that there would be not just one, but multiple questions about this. And I understand that people have things they want to ask about, and they're well within their right to. But when Triple H comes to that podium, I would hope, just like I hope that people would rightfully question Tony Khan about the Jericho allegations at World's End. I would hope that people would talk about and question Triple H about the McMahon allegations as well. So we'll see, though. We're 24 hours away from the show. Royal Rumble tomorrow night. Slim Jim, of course, pulling their advertising because of the Vince McMahon allegations. But guys, there is a pay-per-view tomorrow, and we are going to talk about that. Some big surprises potentially planned for the event tomorrow night. Be sure, if you haven't already done so, to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. We got podcasts, we got live streams. I did a full Royal Rumble preview, last night with Kenny Baum from Off the Top. Be sure to go check that out as well. But we got the Royal Rumble tomorrow. Oh, also be sure to hit that like button, guys. Really hitting that like button. Make sure that more people see the stream, builds the community, tries to, and really props up what we're trying to build here. A really good community of professional wrestling fans. Royal Rumble tomorrow. As of right now, we have 4 women declared for the Women's Rumble. We have 8 men declared for the Men's Rumble. It's crazy, man. Like, it's one of those weird things, right? Where I feel like, in a way, it's kind of cool that you don't know who's in the Rumble because anyone could show up, right? And you don't know where they're going to show up, and you're not expecting people to show up, so it's a bit of a bigger surprise. At the same time, it's kind of crazy, like that only 4 people want to or are announced for the Women's Rumble. It's kind of crazy. Like, only 4 are trying to get this match at Mania, and same on the men's side, only 8 of you want this. Like, it's kind of crazy to me. But we got Cornelius T in the chat saying Slim Jim's one of their biggest sponsors. Absolutely, I remember the first Slim Jim ad dropped with Macho Man. Yep. And that was back in the WCW days. Snap into a Slim Jim. Oh yeah, dig it. Damn right. Yeah, those Macho Man Slim Jim ads were wild. But so what happens with bad PR? You scare off companies like that. Now, as far as like surprises for the Rumble, like they're gonna have to be some big surprises because they haven't announced anyone really for the Rumble. So you're assuming you're gonna get one or two big ones. I think they were planning for Brock to be a big one. Like I could see that. I could see them planning for Brock to be a big surprise for the Rumble. I don't know where that stands as of right now because of the allegations against McMahon and himself. But for the women's Rumble, I'll tell you one. I think a lot of people expect Naomi to be there. A lot of people expect Naomi to return at the Rumble. She of course did a goodbye to Impact. She lost the belt. She had a really good run in Impact. She had a great run in Impact Wrestling, and it's one that I think people are gonna look back on very fondly. I think it's work that she can be proud of because she went out there without the WWE name and immediately made an impact. She immediately proved that she's not just a WWE creation. She's not just an industry baby. She's the real damn deal. And she truly is amazing, like her song says. I love that song, by the way. But I really expect Naomi to be there. You got Cornelius T in the chat saying, so many people have come back. Who could be the surprise at this point? I mean, Naomi is one. I know that people really want Okada to be the guy for the men's Rumble. A lot of people also want Mercedes Moné, FKA Sasha Banks, to be there. But I'll talk about the Sasha thing and why that's likely not happening. But people do expect Okada. I don't. I think the more likely scenario at this point is that Okada ends up in AEW, but that's just me shooting from the hip. One thing I do know for sure, and that has been reported, is that Okada's contract with New Japan is not up by tomorrow. So if he did wrestle in the Rumble tomorrow night, he would need permission from New Japan. There would need to be some sort of contractual there would need to be something that happened there to ensure that happens because his contract is not officially up by tomorrow. So New Japan and WWE would need to figure something out there. So that's the main reason why I don't expect Okada. I just think logistically from a contract standpoint, it won't happen. As far as like others, I mean, Cornelius, you bring up a good point. Who else it really is out there? I think you're going to see a lot more legends in this Rumble. Expect a good amount of legends. Like, people want Batista, and that's an interesting one. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Batista. Like, I'm just like he did his retirement thing. I think he's done. He's not going to come back for a Rumble. Goldberg is one name I could see coming back. I could totally see Goldberg coming back for the Rumble, which I know Kenny Baum from Off the Top would absolutely despise if that was the case. He was not a fan of Bill Goldberg. Almost not a fan of Bill Goldberg like Bret Hart was. Bret Hart, if there's one person who hated Bill Goldberg, it was Bret the Hitman Hart. He hated Bill Goldberg. Still to this day, despises Bill Goldberg. And look, you can't really deny the man the right to hate Bill Goldberg, given what Goldberg did. You basically ended Bret Hart's career because of a dangerous kick that he did. And my favorite thing, though, about Bret Hart is so petty with his hate for Bill Goldberg. He refuses to call him by his ring name, Goldberg. You know how everyone calls Goldberg? Everyone usually calls him Goldberg. They say Goldberg with a spear, Goldberg doing this. Every time Bret Hart talks about Goldberg, he says his full name. He's like, Bill Goldberg is trash. Bill Goldberg is this. Bill Goldberg is that. It's actually one of the funniest things once you realize it and you watch his stuff back. His promos are way funnier because he refuses to say Goldberg. He's like Bill Goldberg. It's one name, Bill Goldberg. No space. I love Bret Hart. What else we got? Other surprises that could happen. Well, let's talk about Sasha. Let's talk about Sasha for a second. Many WWE fans, many other wrestling fans in general, speculating that potentially we could see Sasha Banks stroll on back in WWE and return at the Rumble, potentially winning it. I do not want to be the person to burst people's bubbles, but report after report after report, credible. How about this? Credible report after report after report after report, because I know there's some damn websites that my boy Brian from Off the Top has been disseminating information from. That I'm just like, Brian, what are you reading, my guy? Come on. A lot of websites saying Sasha Banks is confirmed for the Rumble or whatever. She's coming back. It's happening. I don't see it. The indication, according to a lot of reporting from Andrew Zarian, who's very well sourced in AEW, Sean Ross Sapp, of course, very well sourced. Even Meltzer has mentioned, like, they expect, most people expect Mercedes to be in WWE, or sorry, excuse me. They expect Mercedes to be in AEW. They expect Mercedes to be in AEW. I apologize. I misspoke. It happens on a live show. They expect her to be in AEW soon. As of right now, it looks like she's finishing up some acting commitments. And then she is going to be coming back and debuting. People expect, I think there was a report coming out that they expect that debut to be built up into something big. Tony Khan right now is literally like, this man has been wilding on Twitter all year. I mean, he's wilding on Twitter constantly. But today, he's been taking victory laps for no reason. And the only reason that I can think of, right, is that he's got something big. Like earlier today, he said that 2024 AEW is going to be 2021 AEW. And obviously 2021 was a fantastic year for the company. So I'm looking at that and I'm saying, why does he say that? Probably because he has big plans. Like, I could see a situation where Mercedes debuts before Revolution. I think that, in an ideal world, you have Okada debut at Revolution as maybe a big match for Ospreay, or maybe just staring down Ospreay, building anticipation for whenever their next match is. They've had 8 of these damn things. They might as well have a 9th. But I don't know. I think that there's definitely like a story to be told there again. And it's just a fun match, honestly, and I want to see it. It's just cool. I want to see Will Ospreay wrestle. And Mercedes, I think in the way I see it, right? You've already sold out Revolution. The Greensboro Coliseum is sold out. 15,000 plus are there to see Sting's last match. So it doesn't really make sense to debut her there with the expectation that she's going to be debuting there and you're going to try to sell tickets. They already sold so many tickets. What I would do if I was AEW is one of the markets before Revolution that you might be having trouble selling in, debut her there and build it up. Make it like you built up the First Dance. Drop all the hints. I want Tony Storm out there being like, I'm not afraid of anyone, whether she is a virtuosa or a boss. Like, I want everyone to be doing that. I want Deonna Purrazzo to be out there going like, I'm the virtuosa. I don't care. Like, you can bank on it. Give me all the innuendos, all of it. And say that at the first, or at like whatever, the bank show. Make it the bank show or something crazy like that. Like, literally call it something, the silliest thing. Where's AEW having shows over the next little while? I know they're gonna be they're gonna be like they're gonna be in Florida pretty soon, right? God, I'm trying to pull up AEWTIX.com. By the way, guys, it's a great opportunity to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released, a new podcast is released, everything you could ever need about professional wrestling right here, youtube.com/Real Take Wrestling. If you want to guarantee your question or statement is around the air, leave a super chat. Also leave a chat like my boy Cornelius did, and we'll get to those. Guess my Ethernet isn't working. Let's go to AEWTIX.com on my phone. Let's see. So, in between now and Revolution, they're going to be in New Orleans. They're going to be in Edinburgh, Texas. They're going to be in Phoenix, which seem to be building up as a big show. That's going to be Sting and Darby, versus the AEW World Tag Team Champions in Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Collision in Henderson, which tickets for those are not going to sell well. They've sold 900 tickets for that show. Cedar Park, Texas. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Springfield, Missouri. Their last show is going to be in Huntsville. All right, here's my thing. So Springfield, Missouri, they're at the Great Southern Bank Arena. You know I love me some puns. You could definitely do a bank pun with that arena name. I don't know how many. I don't know what this arena is built for, but like you could move tickets. You can move tickets in Missouri just to have Sasha Banks there. Andrew Haxley in the chat says, "Good to see you, man. Good to see you too. I love WWE a lot, and I love the wrestlers. My favorite is Hulk Hogan and John Cena. Yeah, it's a lot of people's favorite. Yeah, but." Guys, by the way, if you're just joining us, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Yeah, I've talked about this before with John Cena. Like, John Cena, man, like, we really, like, it's almost like when John Cena went away, we really realized what we were missing out on. Now, every time he comes back and he cuts a promo, it's just like, oh, my God, he's just way better than everyone else. And it's not even close. Like, go back and listen to that promo he got on Solo Sikoa when he, like, got his tonsils removed or whatever the hell was going on. And he was just like... It was so great, and it was effortless. The dude doesn't even need to think about it. He's like, Cena is an all-time promo. Like, he is an all-time promo. He gets exactly what he's supposed to be doing. I still think CM Punk is the greatest promo of all time, just because he can turn it on whenever he wants to and create, like, literally, like, an all-time moment in a promo. Like, he literally had some of the all-time greatest like moments just talking in professional wrestling history, from the pipe bomb to the great bomb to when he returned. When he talks, people listen. But yeah, John Cena, man, John Cena, killer talent, absolutely killer talent, and he was the right guy at the right time for WWE. Was the booking always great? No, it was not. And I'll be the first to tell you that. And I was the first to tell you that when I was watching that shit. I did not like all of it. But I'm telling you, man, Cena was really good. Cena was really good. Guys, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. As far as other Royal Rumble surprises. As far as other Royal Rumble surprises, man, I don't know. What are some other Royal Rumble surprises? Because Michelle McCool, she's supposed to be at the Rumble, but I'm not sure if she's going to be in the Rumble. I would assume that she might be one of the female superstars. Jade Cargill is someone I could totally see in there. Yeah, I think Jade's probably going to be there. Like, I think you put her in. That's a no-brainer. You put her in. You get her some exposure. Do what you did kind of with Rusev back in 2014, I think it was, and have him come out, have a good showing, and then a few months later you can debut her on the main roster whenever you think she's ready to go. Like, I'm telling you, man, Jade Cargill is a bona fide star, and it ain't even close. Tama Tonga. Someone just said Tama Tonga. Tama Tonga would be an interesting name. He obviously finished up with New Japan earlier this week. That would be crazy. If Tama Tonga goes to WWE, like, think about the stories you could tell with him, AJ Styles. Maybe he joins the Judgment Day as a new muscle and reunites with Finn Balor. Ooh, Tama Tonga could be heat in WWE. Big shout out to Tama Tonga. Another name is Andrade. And look, that's someone who Andrade recently finished up with AEW. And it would make sense if you want to get surprises. You want this to be the Royal Rumble where anything can happen, where you are promising and guaranteeing surprises. That's a guy to get. Like Andrade he's going to get a pop, and he's someone who wants to be there. He really, really wants to be there. Andrew Haley says, AJ Styles, Sasha Banks, Finn Balor are also my favorite wrestlers. Hell yeah. We love that. We love that. Guys, we're heading down the home stretch here. Be sure, if you haven't already done so, to hit that like button. Smash it. Smash it to pieces. Let's go. Let's get these likes up. Subscribe and hit that notification bell. Get your last few chats in as we are headed home. I know a lot of you want to watch SmackDown. I want to get the hell out of this house. So let's just have a mutual understanding here and wrap up here. Closing thoughts on the Vince McMahon situation. Again, I don't want to delve too deep into this, but the reality is that until the culture in WWE and TKO changes, this type of thing is just, it's likely going to happen again. People abusing their power. Again, I've said I don't want that to be the case. I hope that people at TKO have common sense. But it's a weird thing in the industry. People aren't used to really holding powerful people accountable. It's a weirdly uncomfortable thing for some people. But we'll see. Guys, this has been a fun time. I have the Royal Rumble preview show in the live stream section on the channel. Me and Kenny Baum broke down everything you need to know about the Rumble, who's going to be in it, what's going to happen, what we think is going to happen, what we want to happen, all of that here, youtube.com/Real Take Wrestling. I also did a booking video, a long-form booking video talking about who I think is going to win the Rumble. Big surprise. I think CM Punk's going to win the Rumble, guys. Go check that out. It's on the channel as well. News videos on the daily, shorts, live streams, podcasts. I'm a gosh darn maniac, but I love you guys. But yeah, think we are just about headed home here. Hope everyone enjoys the weekend. I'm Omer Q. Until next time, be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it real.